Welcome to FTMO Performance Talks, the podcast about trading performance for serious traders. In today's episode,
but from my perspective, the biggest difference is in a level of self-control.
They know what works for them, and they would stick with that.
You can earn more money in trading by not losing that much. And by losing that much is when you do something what is not working.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast.
Welcome back to Performance Talks. My name is Michael.
And I'm Nelly. Hi everyone. We've been talking after our last podcast together with Michael and been thinking about the topics we could basically talk about during the next episode. And together we brainstormed and picked some topics which we think are kind of juicy. A lot of traders are asking us, for example, about what separates a successful professional trader from the rest, or from the traders who are still struggling and not able to get there. And so we thought that this could be the topic for this episode.
Exactly, it's the topic for today's episode. And same for me. I get this question very often. What do successful traders do, or how they are different? Because I would start with something that is sometimes overlooked, because everyone thinks it's only about the mindset, because someone says 80% in trading is psychology. I believe that psychology is more important. However, you need those 20% as well, because without those 20% of technical skill, you are not able to achieve anything, basically. You are basically lost. You just do something, even though you can have hard, solid mindset, you can be calm like Buddha or someone, still...
psychology is not gonna get you there.
Yeah, you need both. So at first, what is important is to have the technical background. And I'm talking about the working strategy, I'm talking about system, I'm talking about the rules. Basically, you need to do, or you need to know what you need to do. So that's the first very important thing. On the other hand, this is not enough, as I said. Yeah. So then you need the mindset. And here comes the big difference between successful traders and those who struggle. From my perspective, maybe you will have other opinions, but from my perspective, the biggest difference is in a level of self-control. And I'm talking about impulsive trading, I'm talking about revenge trading, I'm talking about fear of missing out. Because in the moment when I know what I should be doing, then I need to do that. And in order to do that, I need to give effort in, let's say, suppressing my behavior so I don't jump into a trade or I don't mess up with my strategy. So that's the first one. And then the other one is, I would say, approach to mistakes. Because we are all humans. We make mistakes all the time. And then, especially in trading, it hugely depends on how you cope with that mistake. Because, let's say, we can choose from two approaches. One is destructive approach, that after making a mistake,
beating up yourself.
You beat yourself up, you just call yourself names, but it doesn't help you anyhow.
And in trading, sometimes it doesn't even have to be your own mistake. It can be just some sort of market conditions.
Yeah.
And still, we could have this sort of attitude, right?
Yeah, because you think that because you lost money, it's your mistake. But it's not the case, because me personally, I haven't seen trader with 100% accuracy. So it's not able to hit the take profit every time. So one thing is don't think that losing trade is a mistake, because it's not a mistake if you follow your rules or when you follow your rules. However, on the other hand, when you make a mistake, and you will, and it happens to everybody, it happens to me as well, the big difference is how you react to that mistake, because first approach was destructive, you beat yourself up, and the second one is to choose I call it constructive approach. And that basically means, okay, this is the mistake, but what I will do differently next time so this mistake doesn't happen again. And it's a completely different story. And this is the thinking pattern I see a lot with successful traders, or we can call it successful traders, or mature traders, like professional, or someone who is pretty experienced and have the results. And the other group.
Yeah, they know it already happened. Let's take this as a lesson. And they would just like take it as a lesson and move on, right?
I like the best, let's say, example for me is to imagine trader as a golf player, for example. Imagine that you play a match, and on one, I think it's called hole, so one hole you just mess up, you have very high amount of attempts to hit the hole, and then there's a new hole, so it's like having a new trade. And let's say, I don't know, Tiger Woods or someone, those guys are very, very experienced in handling those mistakes, because if one hole in the entire match will throw you off, then you are not able to win the match. And same goes with trading, because sometimes you make mistake, of course, you will, it's inevitable, unfortunately. But if you will be able to cope with that mistake, that means I take the mistake as a lesson, that means I'm not going to let the mistake to throw me off.
Yeah. And I would say same applies with the winners, right? Because I really like this comparison. If you think about that, if you're gonna go, like through some competition or match, maybe within the golf or maybe within the tennis, same applies, right? Like you can win, at some point you can be like winning. But then, once you start to be like more reckless or more relaxed, you're not gonna pay such an attention, then it can go just downhill, right? So basically still being aware of what is happening in a real time and working with that plan of yours, right? Like it really goes back even like to those technicals. Like being still aware of what is your trading plan and what you should stick with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that one thing is to, let's say, how to work with your mindset or someone, how to approach the mistakes when the mistakes happens. And the other part of, let's say, successful trading behavior is the habits they have. And I remember that last time we talked about the journaling. And it connects with what you just said, that you need to be aware of what is going on. Because if you are not aware, if you just make some trades, maybe even some mistakes, maybe some good stuff, after after 3 trades, you don't remember what was your three trades ago trade. So that's why the journaling is very important, because it brings the objectivity into trading, and especially our human brain, it plays tricks with us, because we tend to remember things that we think are important, or we more remember things that they have high emotional, let's say, power. So if I got stopped out with stop loss by 1 pip, and then the position reversed to my take profit, I will remember it forever, almost, because it has a big emotional impact on me. And then I tend to think that it happens more often than it actually is, because that's how the brain works. So journaling is it's a huge thing to help.
Yeah, also I would say what is like a very big difference between those professional and successful traders is that they know what works for them, and they would like stick with that, you know, like they're not really, maybe sometimes they would experiment a little bit, they would still adjust their plan according to what is happening, you know, like they would still, of course, gather some information, but they know what works for them. And it can be towards that sort of habits, right, or routine. They know what is working for them, and they're not gonna go for something what they know that is not working for them, you know, like it's, as it sounds like
Obvious.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds obvious, but many times, especially when the market is moving and there is big movement, it's very easy to forget what works for you and what doesn't. And I really like that, because I also believe that a good trader or professional trader needs to know himself or herself. And that's connected with what you just said, because one thing is that I know my strategy, and the other one is that I know myself, and I know how to react to, or how I react to certain market conditions or certain situations. So for example, if I know that after hitting second stop loss during the day, I can go crazy,
Yeah.
then I need to know that, and in that moment I hit the second stop loss, I need to say, okay, watch out, Michael, now you are in danger, because usually what happens is that you lose your mind and you just go crazy. So it's very important to know what is working for me and what is not. Yeah.
And there is like no general advice for it, right? Like you really need to find out by yourself. Because just yesterday I had a client of mine, and he was asking me like, how many profitable scalpers do you have, or how many profitable swing traders do you have? And it really depends, right? Like there are like no statistics towards this. You really need to find what is like a good fit for you. It's same like, I don't know, like I have clients who wouldn't be working or trading on, let's say, Mondays and Fridays, and they would, I don't know, like just work on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. Same applies with the sessions, right? Someone prefers the London session, someone prefers New York. So it's really about you. You need to find out what fits you personally.
Yeah. And then also I have traders who are able to trade with low win rate, with high RRR, and some traders just prefer lower RRR but higher win rate, because they like to win more often. And there is no, let's say, good or wrong approach.
Exactly.
As far as it works for you, then it's great, and you need to follow that. And yeah, but you need to have certain edge over the market, because if you just trade randomly, I use this RRR, I will use this risk management, it's not enough. There needs to be, let's say, solid background behind.
It must be systematical.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And then also knowing what is not working for you, right? As I mentioned
We already
before.
touched it a bit, but yes, it's very important, because many times traders want to improve their strategy. So they work on how to maybe get more RRR, how to get higher win rate or something, which is great. It's absolutely good thing to do.
For sure.
But there is a but. Surprisingly for me, you can earn more money in trading by not losing that much. And by losing that much is when you do something what is not working.
100%.
Because let's say you are very strict, very disciplined, you have 3 weeks of good performance measured by your ability to follow your rules, then your strategy is working during that period, so you make profits. But then on one day, you just mess up. So you slip, you do something wrong, and then you spiral down and you have a big red day, you almost hit the maximum daily loss limit or something. And yeah, then you see the history on. Then when we look at the history of a trader or in the metrics, then we see it clearly. If only you wouldn't have that one big red day, you would be pretty okay and pretty satisfied with that.
So really knowing when to stop.
Yeah, so it's really about just avoid those big red days.
And know your triggers.
Yeah, know your triggers, know your weak spots. Again, we are coming back to know yourself. But those are the things that I would say professional or highly experienced traders do. I would call it like must do, especially when you want to stick around for long term. Of course, it's easy to make like high returns short term if you are lucky. If you just use high risk exposure or something, it's doable. I mean, you can earn a lot of money, but then it depends on if you just want to play the luck or you want to be here for a long time. But it's everybody's choice, you know. Everybody prefers something. But
I would say like today we are focusing more on those like sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely,
traders.
absolutely. Because from my perspective as well, or in my, let's say, perspective, I evaluate traders not on how much money they make or how much percentage they make. I look more at the approach. Because if you don't have solid approach, solid routine, solid structure,
You're not gonna be consistent.
I mean, maybe you can, but I've never seen it.
Me neither.
So maybe there is some truth about that.
Yeah, I've never seen that too. So I really believe it actually goes back again to the technicals which you mentioned at the beginning, right? And then even when it comes to the confidence, I really believe if you really backtested your strategy, if you have some statistics and you see that this is something that is working for you, if this is approach which fits you, then it's gonna be much easier for you to actually stick with that approach. Like you will be confident about these steps.
Yep, because you have the hard evidence in your hand, because you know this is what worked in the past for me. So there is high chance, of course, nothing is guaranteed, never and nowhere, but there is very high chance that it will work for me in the future, because that's basically the only, I don't know, security you can have. That's your backtesting, your backtested results.
Can I have one question on you? I'm really curious. What do you think that maybe someone who's like listening to us today and he's trying to get there, what is really that key? What they should like start to do today to get there, what we are like to, you know, like experience what we are talking about?
Yeah, like to get to that level we believe is good.
Yeah. What are these steps? What would you recommend?
It's hard to say because everyone is already on different level. But as I said, I would say must do is to get yourself know better. So that means journal. I mean, I know that we are repeating almost every time, but really the human brains, the way how it works, you just need to journal because you will forget things. Everybody will, because that's how it works. So journal, bring the awareness of your behavior, of your thinking patterns, and then the level of self-control. Because one thing, once I know what I should or what I shouldn't be doing, then I need to do that. And I need to be aware also about the situations. Because, for example, when I will be upset or frustrated from something outside of trading, then I will come to trading desk or my laptop and I will start to trade. I mean, I'm not in a good mental spot during that time. So I need to calm myself down or just refresh. So know what to do, know when to do it, because it also helps with the self-control. If I will be frustrated or upset, it's more difficult to control myself.
Yeah. So maybe it's better to avoid trading. At that
Absolutely,
particular day.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, but then, I mean, know what is working, know when you are at your top performance. That means avoid trading on days you feel weak or weak mindset. And then look back, like review what you have done, how much you stick with your rules, how much you stick with your system. And then again, it's like a cycle, you know.
Put it into the action.
Yeah, put
All
it
these three
into
steps.
the action. It's nothing overcomplicated. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's super easy. It's not. It takes a huge amount of efforts
Yeah, for sure.
to go with your system during times it's working, especially during times it's not working. Both situations
Are difficult.
are
to
difficult.
manage.
They have their own downsides. But yeah, it's like a cycle. You need to have a feedback system for that. So yeah, I would say that the work starts with yourself as always,
Yeah.
and there is nothing else that can do it for you, basically. Yeah. So those are my 2 cents. Two cents.
Yeah, I like that, and I think I don't really have nothing to add up. So I would say if we can wrap it up like this.
Absolutely.
Then I would wish to everyone who is watching us today or just listening to this podcast, good luck with everything. Good luck on your trading journey, and believe in yourself. If you're gonna be systematical, if you're gonna give yourself this time, and be aware that this is a hard work, you know, like it's really not a get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
You're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. So good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everyone. And see you next time.
See you.
This was FTMO Performance Talks. And for more, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, SoundCloud, or subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content from FTMO. See you next time.